Dice, yeah, ay, ay.
In this episode of FYI, I Am Damage, we dive deep into the emotional terrain that most men are taught to avoid. I sit down with Franco, one of the creators of We Forgive to Live, for a real, unfiltered conversation about what it actually means for a man to open his heart and why it's one of the riskiest and most powerful things we can do. We talk about the weight of generational patterns, the pressure to protect while hiding our own pain, and how emotional safety isn't just for women. Men crave it too. Whether you're a man, a partner, or a parent trying to show up differently, this episode hits deep. Thank you and enjoy. Still hauling around that emotional baggage like it's got frequent flyer miles? Exhausted from saying, I'm fine, with a smile that twitches? You survived so much, but surviving isn't the same as healing. At Forgive to Live, a retreat tucked into the Vermont woods on the Escapo Estates, we offer space to unpack, breathe, and maybe, just maybe, forgive. This is not your average extended weekend spa, unless your spa includes soul healing and unexpected laughter. Come as you are, whether you're emotionally tangled or a triggered ready Karen. We'll meet you there. No kumbaya required, just real people, real healing, and maybe a little ugly crying. It's not a vacation, it's a return to yourself. WeForgiveToLive.com.
All right, who the fuck knows what this is gonna be? But this is a good, other than a good conversation. So repeat what you were just saying. Backtrack. We got Oscar FYI damaged here.
I mean, I'm trying, but it's like, because I came across that and I reposted it about, I don't know if you saw it, a story I saw, came across like a guy is basically going through the storm in his head, his heart, and that it's not, he's too afraid of being judged and put down so that, and might think he might be weak because he's not putting his feelings out. He's not opening his heart. So that kind of turns a woman off. Yeah, it's like a man wants a woman in the street, freak of the sheets, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's stupid fucking trope.
Divine feminine. That's the most common buzzword these days. We want them to flow. We want them to be that.
I want to strip in the fucking bed and I want to fucking leave the streets.
Facts.
But yeah.
That's
See part of it. That's
version.
What was it saying? So a woman with on the man's point of view, it's like, okay, I want his heart open, talking and everything like that. And then I want him fucking banging his chest, when we're out in public. Yep. And being a fucking gorilla. But a man can't really open up that way to a woman who's responding to him in a way to be like, well, fuck you, I'm not. A man opening his heart is the most riskiest thing that they can do, especially depending on the generation they came up with.
Oh yeah. I mean, especially our generation, you don't do that. You don't open up your heart. You don't open up your emotions for anybody. Definitely not your woman, who, it's your job to protect and defend, and you can't show any weakness. And that's what we grew up with.
And if that happens, it's either before or after a fucking spaz out. And gotta normalize putting that out there as a regular thing. It has to be proposed to a woman, how to get curious to get your man to be open, yet still holding on to their strength and not thinking that type of vulnerability is weakness.
And in our community, we call that, they don't even recognize that they're holding the shield. So, for us, we say masculine divine, I refer to it as a shield. But they want their man to hold the shield. They also don't want to give it up. Like one person's got to hold it. You can't, otherwise you're both fighting over it. And then that doesn't create the attraction, the desire, the freak in the sheets. It creates none of that shit. There is no intimacy when you're fucking battling with the dude.
And what happens when you're being a couple that's to acting like one for the relationship, the shield can flow, the sword can flow, and goes by. Even then, you guys, when it comes to whatever event that happens, hold it at the same time, protect each other, whatever the case may be. But the point is, how does a woman navigate on how to make a man feel like a man, yet still kind of press that release valve every now and then? That's how women like to be safe, so do men. A woman may want to be protected all around, financially, emotionally, sexually, every other type of facet. A man wants his emotions protected. A man wants his feelings protected, his thoughts and everything, like all that. Because we do have that.
It's hard.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be all that wow shit all the time or just stoic or whatever. Like, yeah, you can be all of that, but it's when it comes to that emotional shit, we tie that into, get a little bit slow, taking off the shell. For a man to do that, a woman has to realize, okay, when does he do that? My guard's out for a little bit. It's like, ow, okay. Normalize it, do it regular. We just fucking sit on the couch staring at each other. Like, yo, I got something going on, and I'll talk to you about it. Because now I'm supposed to feel safe with you. Not me as a whole, but with my heart, my head, with the thoughts that are rumbling around. Can I express that to you? Will it change your view of me? Now, he could get to a point and says, fuck it, I don't care. If it does change my view, you're not for me. You think I'm weak or whatever, okay. Okay with that. Then they have to do a little bit of soul searching, navigating. I gotta get this fucking dude that looks like this huge fucking boulder in front of me. I gotta get to that fucking creamy little center. How do I do that? How do I normalize that? How do I walk in the door and then I hear everything he has to say? When a woman does that to a man, he wants to flip and be like, I want to repair that. I want to fix that. I want to help. I want to solve it. I want to do all that. Well, I learned that a long time ago. Archie's like, no, just shut the fuck up and listen. Now,
That's so hard to think. But here you think about it. So, and I had to explain this to my wife. Like, it wasn't like I was intentionally trying to fix everything, but all day long, we're trained to fix shit. Like, that's my job. My job is people come to me with problems and I fucking fix them. So it looks like a problem, sounds like a problem. I'm fucking treat it like a problem, but that doesn't serve the equation all the time. Sometimes that's not what they
yeah, and it feels unnatural for a guy to be like, I can't listen to all of this and not want to fix it. Yeah, what am I going to do with it? That, okay, just listening fixes it.
Yep. But we're not used to that because we didn't grow up with that. Most of at least our generation. So for us, that's foreign. And we don't even know that has a benefit to release and just get it out, the energy out of your body.
That's one side of the equation. Then when you flip that around, when a man wants to express and he finally feels the need to, what does the woman want? Maybe listen, but also to comfort, maybe throw a little bit of judgment in there. But there might be other things I'm missing.
She might want to fix it.
Because she's too busy, banging her head chest about how she runs through life.
Because she's in her masculine. And then and we get this a lot in our community. There's a lot of masculine driven and masculine, like that shit floats. Like, there's nothing wrong with, like, you got man super feminine, you got man super masculine. The problem becomes is when there's a depolarization. So when you have, a woman who's got the shield and the man who wants the shield and she wants him to have the shield, and then there's this like constant clashing. You do have scenarios where you have a woman who's the masculine energy and you have the man who's the feminine energy, and they still switch, but there's a clear understanding of what it is. This is exactly what I was talking about in the video I was telling you is I need to know, as a man, I need to know the space my wife is in. Because I should have that safe space. And also, if she's not regulated, if she's not connected to her light, she's not qualified. She's not qualified to be my safe space.
So this is where men and women, when that conversation happens, where you're playing around with it and starting it, is feel what the first react. Because a lot of times with continuing on the point before I get to this one is that a lot of things I've encountered with a lot of women, when you start explaining something, they get to be a little bit critical, judgy, and all that type of shit. Yep. What I've been doing with that, learning from everything, my experiences, the community, everything like that, is now it's being curious with yourself about listening to this. Don't saying anything. And then understanding what your first reaction is. Yep. Keep your mouth closed. They're talking. Okay, this is my first reaction to this.
What they're saying is they're heating my body.
whatever.
That's one way.
Like, oh, you should have did this, you should have did that. Oh no, fuck him, this and that, fuck her. And he went to all of. For the man, it's like, yeah, you got to do this, you got to do that, baby. What about this and that? For the woman, it's like, oh, are you serious? They did that, all that about. Exactly. Oh, well, how did you feel about it? Because then that's when they achieve that that tipping point of like being curious.
Yeah, but they're not connected. You're saying when they're disconnected.
Yeah, when their first reaction is the reaction that draws them away.
Yep.
Like, okay, one, you're not listening to me.
Yep.
Okay, you're two, all right, I'm not telling you something. A woman say you're not listening to me. A man is saying, okay, I'm not telling you this to give you something to aim and shoot at. Like, no. If these are your first reactions, don't say anything.
Otherwise, it's a collision.
Identify it. Exactly. Then nothing gets resolved. Yep. Or not even resolved. Nothing gets at least
worse. Let's face it, when you collide, if adds on top of whatever the disconnect now, it's like, she don't see me. See, I can't trust you. Da da da.
It's not on the path to feel comfort, to feel cared for. That's a big thing for me. If there's no care there, fuck you.
Because you understand that because of the work that you've done on yourself. It's like, that's deep. Like when you feel that feeling of not feeling cared for, it ties back to childhood. For like all of us, like the ones that are the most important to us, it's because there was something missing.
Like I had that this morning. Tomorrow's my last day at work for the current job. I've been going on like a nice little move. Like I wasn't taking anything. I didn't, take any gummies or anything like that to feel regulated or chilled. Taking my son first to the bus, Max. We're going down the block. We're like, fuck, we're late. We were looking for a charge for his phone, this and that. I don't want him to be with a dead phone during the day. God forbid something happens. Going down the block, we see the fucking bus pass by, and I'm like, oh, that's your bus. We're trying to get it. I got my bag. I think I got a charge in my bag. Go to my bag, this and that. He couldn't find it. I said, yeah, I could have flipped out. Why you didn't do this? Da, da, da. Nope. I said, okay. And it helps that, and this may be bad to say, it helps that RG's not here because I get a sense of anxiousness, ease. And then, sounds bad, but it's like I take it all or no.
No, it's not bad. I mean, it's just real. This just happens in my house all the time. Like my child is different when my wife's not around.
So when that happened, we're trying to follow the bus. I'm like, look, you got to find the battery before we get to the next bus stop. We're following it. We find out where it's going. And I'm trying to not impose, but teach him, like, look, I said, do you know where's the next stop? I'm like, no, okay. She's like, no, I don't know the street. I don't know what's called. I was trying to know the street, but it's like, okay, does it turn on this block? Do you recognize the house? This and that. You got to know your points and everything like that. So at least you get your way. Because at least, if something happens to you, you can walk home. Your brothers can't. I have to go for them first. It's a 5-year-old and a 14-year-old. So that's it. You know what? I stopped. I pulled over. I said, you know what? I drive you to school, and then I'll go back, and then I'll drive them to school because I'm not going to get back and rush them. So it's like, okay, call your grandma. Tell her, don't rush. I will drive them to school. From the battery, got him to school. Talking to him, letting him know, like, look, prepare for emergencies, blah, blah, blah. We can't keep doing this. Cool, fucking calm conversation. He got it. And leave the car. Like, I rattled his cage.
Regular.
Exactly. Dropped them off. Went back to get the other two. Told my job, get a shit. I was like, oh, the bus broke down. I got to drive them to school. So, getting them, everything's cool. Getting them at a good pace. Head to the school. The point I'm getting at is that I know it's a simple moment, but simple moments are pivotal moments. Because my 5-year-old, he wanted to walk with his older brother to go to the school. He gets into the door, but this is about maybe 100 feet away. I'm on the outside on the sidewalk. I know that he's a 5-year-old, that if I said, yo, you want to walk with your brother? Yeah. I said, okay, I'll stand right here and I'll watch you walk in the door. Any other parent in a rush, like, okay, I'm late for work, whatever, if we just see them walking, bounce and leave. They're good. They're on the school grounds. They know where to go. And then what happens? They turn around, they're not there. I don't see them, because no matter how independent a kid may come off, it's that security of a parent that shows that, you know what, somebody has my back. So then he's there, and what happens? He gets there, Brandon goes off, he's walking with the other pre-K kids. What happens? He turns around, he looks, sees that big dude with the black shirt, Start waving at him. He smiles. He keeps going. He looks back about 3 or 4 more times. And I think to myself, shit, if I would have left, that simple moment would have been a pivotal moment for him to be like, fuck, he just left. He's not there.
Yep. And we see what happens in Vermont. With those little moments that fucking 30, 40 years later,
I remember he didn't fucking stand there at the gate. He let me walk inside the home and all this. And I'm like, you know, I'm sure I got my moments if I really, really think back. But it's like, you know, yeah.
And what I see in that, you know, after a lot of the work that we've done healing ourselves, is I see a level of humanity in my parents, because they had less understanding and less awareness, and it's with us, even in that moment, like, it would have been easy, like something else could have been going on that day that you just left, and you're a great dad, you're an amazing dad who's present, who wants, you know, I know I'm a great dad, but like, there's little moments like that, micro moments that, you know, we're not trying to create, you know, a fear of abandonment or not feeling good enough. So it's bound to happen. You know, it's my point. And it happened way more with our parents because they had less awareness, less consciousness. So the goal really becomes teaching our kids how to be aware of what's happening, because we're going to fuck it up without even wanting to.
Yeah, but it's really hard for some people to reconcile that dull parenting shit, because it's like, okay,
I can't even see it though.
And I've dealt with that before. It's like, I'm a parent and I see how vital it is. I come from nothing and I still saw it. How the fuck does that escape somebody unless they have something really fucked up with them to be like, I don't care what I'm going through. I've seen drug addicts be better parents than regular parents. Regardless of what it's that spark that it's like, I don't give a fuck what I'm doing. I don't give a fuck who I'm fucking or whatever. I am there for my kids, regardless of whatever I'm doing, whatever I'm feeling. Of course, you get somebody who's always there, but unregulated or whatever, flipping out, and then it's like, okay, this motherfucker's always around. Yeah, they love me, but goddamn, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
That's how I was at one point.
But you've done a lot of work.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm kind of breaking that fucking wheel from turning.
Yep.
I'm still not there yet to really understand what my parents have been through, because to me it's unfathomable to be a parent and not care.
You know, I wouldn't say, so to me, I wouldn't say unfathomable, but it's you can't even understand it. You know, I can't imagine like how that's possible. Some of the things that have happened, especially, you know, in our circles, there's some things that have happened with parents. You know, like, I mean, my grandfather that I never met, he gave away my mom. He gave away my mom at 9 years old. Like, that shit hits differently. Now for me, I have a 9-year-old daughter. This past year, that story has taken a whole new meaning. And what it made me realize, though, is because I can't even imagine the place I would have to be in to give away my daughter, it also makes me curious. What happened to my grandfather? Like, what level of darkness? That's a darkness I still haven't engaged with yet. Like, we've heard each story I can think of around the fires in Vermont. But that's one I'm like, actually kind of like, am I ever going to meet somebody like that? Because what I know for a fact is I'm gonna know my grandfather differently. Because right now, I can just say, holy shit, he was in so much darkness that I can't even imagine.
I don't care what I'm going through, because if somebody proposes to me, you owe me whatever, or I need this, I'm gonna take it. It's either this or you give me your child. Look, I will be slitting his fucking throat.
Yeah, there's nobody that I wouldn't fucking.
You want what?
And think about that. So you would fight anybody. Doesn't matter what the situation.
Kill them.
You would kill and make sure that that's eradicated. That's how vehemently you would protect your children. And I'm with you 100%. There's nothing I won't do. How the fuck does somebody get to a place where I believe that's the natural, if you think about primal, like animals, like we're born with that. We're born with that protection, that love, that heart. I believe that. That's how we're born. And something happens to cut that person off from their heart.
Something has to happen because I believe strongly in that statement where a woman is a mother as soon as she's pregnant. A man is a father as soon as a child is born. Those are catalysts to spark that in you to be like, yeah, like this is how it's supposed to be. It can be instinctual. So it's like, what has either dulled or not sparked that instinctual feeling to be a fucking parent?
Yeah. I mean, for me, I knew I wanted to be a great dad. So instinctually, like you're saying, when
You were working on your pain.
yeah, but I had barely just started. So like my son, Adrian was the biggest Sienna was my first catalyst. Adrian was my second catalyst. But the reason he was my catalyst was different. Like Sienna was like, I want to make her proud. That's where it was coming from. Adrian, I held him and I'm like, I couldn't have a connection with him. It was hard to hold him because that motherfucker was looking me dead in the eyes. I hated what he saw. I'm like, I'm supposed to teach you how to be a man? I have no fucking idea how to be a man. And what was instantly coming up for me was not like it wasn't negating my instinctual desire to be a dad, but it was hitting me at the core of what my biggest insecurity is. Am I enough?
But were you deflecting to say that because your father, to my knowledge, your father was there? It may not have been there the way that you want to. My father was fucking checked out. He was fucking chicks. He was doing his own thing, maybe second and every once again. So I didn't have any life lessons or anything like that. To say that you didn't know how to be a father, was it because you were negating all of the lessons that were being taught to you because you just didn't vibe with your father like that because of the trauma that you experienced about how he lashed out at you at such a young age?
So that was the smallest part of it. What was the biggest part of it was that I just didn't feel good enough. It wasn't that I didn't actually know. When I was connected to my heart and I was clear of that dark fucking cloud, yeah, it just flowed. I was like, oh, I know how to be a great dad because like I love hard and because I know what I want, but I couldn't see that when I was more focused on like, I'm not fucking good enough. I attached that to everything. Parenting, being a husband, there was nothing I could do that was fucking good enough for my wife.
Because I think there was kind of like I see that as for that affecting a child because I know how that feels. It's like it's more of a spiritual reaction than it is a mental reaction to what's happening.
Yeah.
So then that feels like ingrained in your DNA, and then you're like, I don't fucking trust you. Yeah, you there. For me, it's like you're not here, and then you want to pop up, then you might as well be a fucking ghost because I'm not feeling you.
Yeah, and that shit, but that's not our origin state. So like that's not where we start. For me, I had a present dad. Wasn't emotionally there. There were times where he was, but when he wasn't, it was not because of me. That's how it felt as a child, but it's because he didn't have the emotional capacity for himself. Like he was going through his own shit, and I didn't learn that until just last few years. Because I had finally healed that part of me that could now hear my dad. It wasn't that he wasn't talking. It wasn't that he wasn't sharing. Even though there was many lessons, but I couldn't see them. Even though once that cleared, I'm like, yeah, I can see how I got this from him, and I learned this lesson from him. I learned this. The darkness I had wasn't the darkness my dad had. It wasn't the darkness my grandfather had. So like, it's hard to say, well, instinctually, you should just know how to be a man because even though that's your reality, and that's my reality too. And whatever you don't know, you fucking fight like hell to learn the best you can to be the best man you can be. We were brought up with a certain, there was things that happened. Some were really bad, and that doesn't mean that automatically that means darkness. Some people thrive, from a trauma. There's a gift in the trauma. Some people go a different path. Like why they go this way and they go this way. That's for me, it's fascinating because that's what we study in our community. But it's the same. I've seen the same thing, the same story and two people go in totally fucking different directions.
You just pay attention to the reactions, and he's like, "Oh, I know which way you're going." Everybody gets your love except the people you're supposed to love.
Yeah.
Through genetics. But it's like, I'm just trying to figure out if that feeling to even give a shit about understanding what they went through has like atrophied, because I'm fucking 46 and I'm like, I still got kids to raise. I still have to make, they're in a pivotal moment in their lives. Fucking 14 or 12. Like, I had a conversation with Max today, because he's like, there's some kids that you're in a specialized school to learn and be in the film industry, whether it's in front or behind the camera. There's kids, messing around, they're not doing the work. And I said, well, don't discount that they haven't found what they need to do. Don't put them down to think like they're not there for whatever they want to do. They may have a gift. I said, they may have somebody who's not cultivating that. I said, I saw what I saw in you. That's why you're in that school. So you have to put yourself above the rest and like, don't worry about them. Maybe they're not ready to cultivate that. Maybe they're not ready to work on that, because you are. You're doing your shit on TikTok. You're working on your art. You have a great personality. You make friends and all this type of shit. We see that and we're cultivating that shit. So what if the parents are not cultivating that?
And why is it that you're so aware and you put so much energy in cultivating that?
Because that's me attuning to making sure that this shit is straight and they're not going solo like how I was in my life.
Bingo.
I made that connection a long time ago.
So, but here's to the other point that you had said about, like, well, he gets to a certain point, it's like, fuck it, I'm 47, I got things to do. Like, why put the focus on that? It's in the past, leaving the past.
Yeah, and I focused on the present with my kids.
And the study of that, what I have learned, like my dad, clearing that space, understanding, being more whatever. When I got most curious about that is when I started to make the connection that that's not about me healing that previous relationship. It's not about me healing my relationship with my dad or reconciling or going to the past. It's about now, because that has an impact on me being an even greater dad. And there's many moments like just.
You just want to record shit.
Yeah, I just want to record shit. So, so we were just saying, I'm gonna find some use for this someday. I don't know what the fuck it is, but
Definitely said I could post it up.
Alright. So this is fascinating. I have so many things that came to me in this conversation. I'm like, you know what? I think anytime I have a men's night, I'm just gonna make sure one of the guys shows up like 15, 20 minutes earlier. We're gonna sit in the car and we're gonna have a fireside chat or whatever we're gonna call it. Anyways, so what I was saying is about I stayed away from going at the history of my dad for a long time, and a lot of it had to do I was just resentful, and I was blaming, and when we're in a place of darkness, we look for all the outside is the faults. I'm blaming, I'm judging, everything's outside of me. So I spent a lot of time judging my dad. Why would he do this, and why wouldn't he just love me this way, and and all the different judgments that I had as a dad, as a son, and then especially when I became a dad, oh, the judgments that I had for him were fucking vicious. Because I'm like, how could you be that way? Like, I see my little boy cry, and I'm like, yo, how do you yell at him and say, stop crying? And I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, how's that even possible? So I was in total judgment. I wasn't seeing him. And then all it takes is one fucking time when my son is like, I have no control over getting him to do what I want to do. And I've had a shit day and it was fucking difficult. And I dealt with problems all day and I'm stressed the fuck out. And then my wife is needing me to do something. And my son will shut the fuck up. And I'm like, I have a moment where I'm like about to fucking shake the shit out of him. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? What just possessed your body? And I catch myself before I do it. And then I think to myself, holy shit, I have a lot of work that I've done on myself. And I almost got to the point where I shook the shit out of my kid. So then I think, wow, how the fuck did my parents figure it out? Like, they didn't have therapy and do work on themselves and read books and try. They didn't have that at that time. They weren't about that.
When they get old enough, watch, you're going to see that. When they get old enough, and I'm talking about like after 10, 12 or whatever, you're going to step back. You're going to step back. You're going to be like, I gotta find another fucking way.
Yep.
Like, I keep whipping ass all the time.
Yeah.
Shit, I can't keep scared because it got to the point where I told my kids, I'm like, I have to fight my fucking mom because she's like, put down the toilet seat. I'm like, Archie has her own bathroom. She takes a master bath for herself. All of us, and I told my kids, this is a boy's bathroom. It may feel unnatural. Keep the fucking seat up. Because if I have to go use the fucking bathroom and there's piss all over the seat, trust me, I don't want to be screaming from the door or whatever, all that type of shit. So, but then you do the work. All right. You have those conversations very firmly, but very calmly. And it's like, look, guys, you got to stop. You got to stop. And you tend to pivot because it's like, all right, this is not going to work. Because, of course, when they're a young age, you have to set those boundaries. And then when they get old enough, then you got to start cultivating them. So your reactions change if you're aware enough to be like, this fucking kid is growing. You're going to see the disconnect. You're going to see like, yeah, I'm good. You're going to start seeing the distancing. So when RG and I changed, Brandon is more attuned with her. He opens with her. Maxwell opens up for me. Logan's still 5, so he's just wild as fuck. Yeah, you see that. Now, do I feel bad? Like, oh, Brandon opens up more to art like that. I'm like, you know what? That's what it is. Fine, whatever. Max does this thing with me. Yeah, we got the comics in common and everything. You're gonna see that within you when he grows up to be like, all right, I gotta kind of switch this up a bit, regardless of how he fucking lights my fuse. Yep. I was getting it from all ends. So the kids, RG, family, I had fucking fuses I didn't even know were fucking lit. Then it will get to the point like, I got somebody who's just fucked up as me telling me like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I'm like, ugh. I'm like, all right. But then I can't go to fucking war with her about who's wrong, what's wrong with who. Because then like, yo, I can't fucking match this shit. And I'm like, all right, whatever. But now it's changing because the more the effort is there. The effort is there to be like, all right, this shit has to be different. Otherwise, I come from a family with kids of 3. Now I have 3 kids. There were about, that was more on my mother's side. They have more kids. But after that, it was just always 3, 3, 3. RG, same thing. This for sisters, all 3. So I'm like, so then you see the disconnect. You see the drifting apart. And then with all being aware of how you should be, because in life, in society now, it's rolling around that, what? Mental health, connection, awareness, these things matter when they were never in the forefront. Only to those who were in those little bubbles that maybe had somebody who was a therapist or who was strong enough to go without worrying about people on what they say. Like, oh, you want a therapist? Well, fucking crazy. And then they were basically ahead of the game and know how to self-regulate, know how to act towards people, know how not to let things affect them. So it's like now that that's more mainstream, a lot of people are moving differently. Yep. Still, and it's the same thing that I wish your mother never fucking cut out of the interview that she did with me. Because there's one thing that I'll never let go is like when we were talking and then she brought up my parents. She's like, oh, does your mother know? I'm like, no, she doesn't know about what happened to me. She might know indirectly, maybe RG ignored me and fucking told her, but she never said anything or whatever. We're healing backwards. Because we have all the advantages of healing ourselves mentally. Now we're backtracking through the existing living generations and healing them, regardless of the age, and healing fucking backwards. So I held that shit. Through the generations.
And that has a transcendence forward and back. Because then it's fast forward, and this lies in the very reason I didn't start becoming a better dad until I really started understanding my dad.
And then it snaps back because when you really get fucking elbows deep and like maybe get your father to go to the retreat and everything like that, and then you're healing backwards through the generations, then it's going to snap back because that's that when he heals and he reconnects with you in a certain way, then that is going to reconcile a lot of shit within you, and I want to see that fucking breakdown. And that happens with you.
So I have had some major releases this last year in particular with my dad. Major releases. And for me, I get the benefit. I go to these retreats every month. So I keep seeing, because now I'm open. Before I wasn't open, and I didn't want to fucking go there, and I didn't want to look up. But I started to learn that the more I go there, the more I heal. You know, it's not even about him. Like, he gets it. Like, as you said, it heals backwards. But my willingness to look at all the shit that fucking hurt me in the past is part of what heals me. There is no light without going into the night. And that's the part, where it sucks. And there's parts of, us when we're in pain that we are like, you know what? I don't fucking want to go there. I don't ever want to go there. You know what? They don't fucking deserve for me to go.
You always force the point, and think of it this way. Now, when you pull that rubber band and it's healing and has all that pent up energy, what happens? It snaps back to you, and how you have the rubber band on your wrist and how people snap.
Yep.
So it hits, and what happens? You have that energy. You're the amplifier, and it goes forward to your kids.
Yeah.
And so that's how you basically put healing in a, what the fuck you call those chambers? Like, that ages shit quickly. But it's so no, it's but it's a catalyst for the healing to go forward with all that energy, because when you hit that moment where it all coalesces, all those releases, small to big, you finally look at him like, now you see, motherfucker. And then you're good, or you're getting good. That shit is wow for me. And then that's going to explode on your kids. In a good way.
100%. And I felt that. Like, I've had that here at this restaurant that we're about to go to. I've had conversations that I'm like, holy shit, this was never possible before. And I've had conversations coming back from a retreat. There was one time to get Mish's retreat. I got so much healing. Like, I was fucking Mish, and his dad was like, it was amazing. And I called my dad and I told him, I truly thanked him for everything, and let him know that, like, I could see how difficult, it was raising us, and what it was like to be grateful that you stuck around, even though I couldn't see it. You could have bounced, and I judged you for that. Why did you do more? And I see myself in that, where it was coming from. And I just want you to know it wasn't you. I just couldn't see that. And I'm grateful for everything you did and all the things that I fucking hated that I couldn't understand. I know it was coming from a place of love. And he, on the other side of that, I could feel his release. Because he, it wasn't just because he was crying, but he said, I've waited my whole life to hear that.
But you don't think that it's validating feelings that he wanted validated when,
As a
could it
child.
just,
As a child. This goes all the way down to childhood.
so you're saying that it helps him to hear that because you went through the same thing in his childhood. It's not just validating, like, yeah, I did have it tough when I was raising you guys and this and that. I'm glad you see that. Thank you.
It's actually healing the part of him that's never felt good enough
From his own father.
from how he's shown up as us.
Okay.
Because he didn't have what did he want? He wanted connection. He wanted love. He wanted the things that he didn't get as a child. He was trying to fill that void. And when he didn't get that in return,
He lashed out.
he lashed out. But it was really because he didn't feel good enough. The whole time he believes I'm not good enough, even though he projects it all out on me.
And that's back in the day. God knows what he's been through.
But I couldn't even think about that. The moment this healed, and then we had this conversation I'm talking about, I took him out and we went to another place in Yorktown, and I said, you know what, Dad? I want this dinner to be different. I just want to learn about you. I just want to ask you questions, and I want this to all be about you. And he opened up.
And that's what women need to do. For men, circling back, to know that, okay, I understand you. I care. I'm listening, and I'm receptive to everything that you've been bottling up. And now that you feel safe with me, now that you know that I'm a man as well, you gave him the safe space, the care, the understanding, and then I'm sure he probably told you a lot of shit that you were like, holy fuck.
Yeah, I learned a lot. And, there was so much. And he never could have felt in a safe and secure place if I wasn't safe and secure within myself. Because I couldn't handle that conversation. As a matter of fact, when this conversation was happening, there was at least like 12 different times in the conversation I could hear the noise in my mind. I'm like, holy shit, the conversation would have ended right here.
Stopped your first reaction.
And yeah, 100%, back to what you were saying. So I would hear it and I'm like, wow, this conversation would have been dead right here. Like, did he just say what he said to me? Like, built into his story. I'm like, this motherfucker. But I'm like, oh, wait, no, what's coming up? I'm like, no, that's not true. That's not true because the story has been healed. So now I'm rewriting all those stories while he's telling me and realizing that I would have been blocked here. I would have been blocked here. I couldn't have heard you here. I couldn't have heard. But that had all fallen down. And then I was able to hear him. And he felt heard for the first time.
Because your curiosity helped you
Get there.
get him. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I'm curious about this. I want to learn about him. And I'm going to put all my bullshit aside. My reactions to immediately everything that this person is across from me saying. So it's like that sort of format, it's universal. So for a woman to trust and open up to a man and vice versa is like,
She would have to be clearly connected to herself and not in a place of judging herself. Because if she's judging herself, she's going to judge others. And 100% time. So, like, I'm with you. She needs to be in a place that she is a safe place for you just as much as the reverse. Because my wife needs to be. This is like where it started for me. In the beginning was this morning, and this was a video that I posted this morning. I wasn't in a good place. I felt it. I worked out. I processed some shit, and I still felt something in my body. I gotta get it out. So I called my wife. There's usually between 7:15 and 7:30. There's a window where she can sit down with me for coffee. And I asked her like 6:18, 7:18. And she was like, no, actually, I was gonna play piano. I'm like, okay, all right, fine. I'm like, I didn't say like I need to talk to you. So she felt something, from me. She came back in a minute or two. She was like, okay, I'll make time for coffee. I'm like, okay, cool. So I sit out. I come for coffee, and I feel her energy. Like she's just rushing. She's like all over the place. So we sat down, cup of coffee. Now we got like 9 minutes. I'm like, all right, well, what are we gonna talk about? I see her, and I'm like, is everything okay? She's like, yeah, everything's fine. But you said you need to talk. Like that was, yeah. I'm like, alert. Woo, woo, woo.
can't stand that shit. Our guys just get out, go to her fucking bathroom. And
Wait.
Yeah, just keep telling me. I'm listening.
But I had enough distance on myself because I had worked out this morning. I wasn't like in deep darkness. I just had something I needed to talk about, but I had space. So I was able to, that first reaction, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I asked for this. Nope. I'm like, put that shit aside. Clearly something's off with your wife and it's not your time right now. And I needed to be able to say it's not my time because she's deregulated. Something's going on with her. Then I said, no, I'm here. She said, no, you said you want to talk. I said, I'm here. I'm good. Like, yes, I will talk to you. I will share what's going on in my space. But I can see some things in your space, and I've done the work this morning. I can hold space for you. So I held space for her. Long story short, she sends me that a beautiful message afterwards. She was thanked me. I really needed that. I know you needed something, but thank you for holding space. Now she feels safe. Now inside of that safety, then I can say, and she asked, she was like, is there, do you still want to talk? And I said, no, not right now. But tonight I'll tell her, hey, are you still in a good space to receive? And that's me checking in because I used to not do that. If I'm deregulated in a fucked up place and then she's here now, I'm ready to dump, but I'm not checking in where she at, then I could be stepping into a fucking trap like I would have this morning. Because there was a bunch of shit in her space. She's freaked out about her trip, which I'm excited about, but she's stressing about this and this is not done and the kids and the da-da-da-da-da-da, and then Adrian, da-da-da-da, this thing and all this whole universe is happening there that had I not had space to pause, that would have been fucking the sinister trap of the darkness. I would have stepped into that, gotten attacked by that. I'm in a vulnerable place, because I'm not fucking feeling good. And now, boom, we're fucking colliding and there's chaos in the game.
That's Tuesday for a lot of fucking folks out there.
Hey, for me, for a long fucking time. So don't know what this is gonna be, but I think Oscar's gonna drop this as a podcast, and this is the game we play inside our community.
Gotta drop some.
It's real and fucking raw. So, all right, let's go get some food.